So by now, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the headlines. Kevin Walsh just announced that the Federal Reserve is holding interest rates steady. Markets sold off, bond yields jumped, and most people walk away thinking this was a story about interest rates. It's not. It's a story about commitments. Let's break down what actually happened and why it matters for your wallet. For a little background, the Federal Reserve doesn't just set interest rates, it also manages expectations. And one of the main ways it does that is through something called the dot plot. Think of the dot plot as the Fed's public forecast. Every quarter, Fed officials submit what they think rates should go. Markets study those dots obsessively because once a Fed official publishes a forecast, changing it later becomes difficult. The market remembers, the media remembers, everyone noticed. So the dot plot isn't actually a forecast, it's a commitment. Now, here's where things start to matter. This quarter, 9 Fed officials submitted forecasts showing rates hikes later this year. Investors saw those dots, bond yields jumped, stocks sold off, portfolios got repositioned. The market interpreted those forecasts as a signal higher rates are coming. But here's what most people miss. Kevin Walsh didn't submit a dot. He argued that forecasts create a policy straitjacket, that they force officials to cling to stale views. So while other Fed officials publicly committed themselves, Walsh didn't. The market reacted to commitments. The Fed share made none. And that's where the story gets interesting. At the same meeting, Walsh announced multiple task forces to review how the Fed measures inflation, how it communicates policy, how it manages its balance sheet. Most people heard reform, but there's another way to look at it. Every review process creates flexibility. Every study creates another reason to wait. Every new framework creates another reason to revisit prior assumptions, which means if the markets expect rates hike later this year, Walsh now has an exit ramp. New data, new analysis, new findings, a new reason to reassess. No rate hike required. Now, here's the bigger idea. Most investors think Fed policy is about interest rates. Owners understand it's often about expectations because markets move on what people believe will happen, not necessarily what actually happens. And right now, markets are pricing in commitments that the Fed chair never personally made. That's the real story. Not rates, not inflation, not politics, architecture. Because once you remove the mechanism that forces public commitment, you gain maximum flexibility. And flexibility may be the most valuable asset in the room. So if your portfolio is positioned for higher rates simply because the market expect them, it might be worth asking one question: who actually made the commitment?